Hello everyone, welcome back to this series. We're making this game studio. Now, in the last episode I taught you the basics of putting UV together. What I'm actually going to do now is going to go through it and do these really quickly. I'll run over the basics just again. You want to make sure that your faces have a good texel count, so these squares, and they are all lined up perfectly, as well as the insides and stuff like that. You might want to break these inside windows off because we're going to give those a different texture. You do that by right clicking on them and detaching edge verts, and then you can move them separately. So yeah, I'm just going to run through this. There's quite a lot of documentation on this, so it should be pretty easy for you to sort of just move things around and stitch them together. Okay then, see you in a minute. I'm actually not going to detach these, because we're going to sort all that out in the texture editor, so don't worry about those. Alright, so I've got this a bit more sorted out now. I've got the pieces we don't need to see over here on the right, and what I'll do is I'll probably scale them into a corner, because we aren't going to be seeing them. And I've split the walls up after merging them all together, so that I can make them bigger. Got the floor here a bit too large. What I'm going to do is take these elements down here, and we're going to scale them up. Now, as I said earlier, one thing I'm going to make sure to do is to line them up correctly. Because we put them all together already, they're already the right scale, so it's a case of putting them in the right place. And then if we need to size them down slightly, we can. So we have these pieces here. I'm going to go ahead and move these over there. I'll probably have to give them more space in a bit, but we're just getting them lined up right now. So these spaces here, I'm going to... Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong corner there. So I'm lining these two up. I'm lining the two sections up, then I'll line the other corners up. It's a workflow I generally use. Just move them into position. Try and keep them as square as possible, kind of thing, really. Alright, and then I'm going to try and give this as much space as we can now. So these are ready, I think. I'm going to make this floor up here. Just seems easy for me to manage. I'm going to try and get these to be the same sort of scale first. Alright. So with those there, I'm actually going to turn these sideways. Maybe I can get more space out of them. It's all about packing these in as bigger and tightly as you can. So I'm going to actually slip all these together. Deslide those, move these back in, so we can fit these in here. Okay, that's a bit too large. So move these back another little bit more. Still need a bit more adjusting. This is all this is really at the moment. It's just adjusting things until you've got the right kind of look. Right, so that'll about do it. And now we just need to go ahead and move these around a little bit more. Try and match this corner up there. So I'm going to go back and see the move vertical mode. You need a really good mouse, I do. So I'm using a little notebook mouse because I can't actually afford a new one at the moment. So, alright, there we go. So that's nice and lined up. Now we just have to move this one around. Might have to use opposite colours, but that's not a real problem. It doesn't matter if like the colours here are different, because we can use tileable texture. So don't worry about that. Just make sure they're square. Alright. And I'm just going to move all these slightly upwards, so it's not going over the bottom here. Oh, that should be alright. Alright, so we've got our walls down, and everything's sort of texture mapped. So I'm going to go ahead and make this floor bigger, fill in that gap. I'm going to take these bits here, and these are going to go back in this space. I'm trying to make things not overlap, because then we can, if we needed to use this for mobile, you'd be able to use the light maps from this. It generates from the second UV channel, all the first ones. Right, so that's done. So I'm going to go ahead and save. I'm also going to name this. I'm going to call this office space. I'm going to open the editor again and do Tools, Render UVW Template. Hit that button there. See, we get this nice template of our UVs and where we should put our textures. I'm going to go ahead and save this out. I'm going to call this UVW office space. Save it as a PNG. It's got low quality. Press OK, and then we're done with that. Okay, so on the next part, we will start putting our textures onto the UV in Photoshop. It's inside the texture. Yeah, we'll start putting that on in Photoshop, which means we're done with this UV channel now. So after we've done that, we'll have our main bit done, and then we'll probably add the roof in as just a plane. So I'll probably just export a plane model, because we're not going to be seeing the outside of the roof. It should be inside this bit. So if you can imagine it, there's no point me doing this in Max and exporting it as a model when I can just do it in UDK as a mesh, BSP. It's kind of hard to position camera inside of buildings in Max, but you get the idea. Alright, so I'll see you on the next part.